Hey everyone, and welcome to the moment that we have been waiting for. It is Blank Game Week 19, where the fixtures get a little crazy due to the Supercoppa, the Italian Supercoppa, where we have four teams battling for just an extra piece of silverware, and a couple other teams are impacted because they were originally scheduled to play those teams this week. Teams that are not playing are Juve, Atalanta, Inter, and Milan, as well as Bologna and Como, I believe, because some of those fixtures were against those teams as well. So we have seven matches in total, 14 teams playing, six not. Um, and that is just how this game week is going to go. Next week, we'll have a double game week where basically all of those teams that aren't playing this week will be playing two game weeks next week in fantasy. So, two important game weeks. So, first things first, as we know, and for those that have been watching my channel, first, like and subscribe. And then they know that I've been preparing for this game week for a while. I used all three of my transfers this week, and a lot of teams that have been preparing for this are going to have teams that look a little out of the norm. As you can see in my starting 11 here, some new faces. We have no Juve players, Milan, Atalanta. All those players are gone. And I've gotten in some new players for this game week because right after this game week starts, I'm going to be hitting my wildcard button in preparation for game week 20 as well. Now, I don't think it's like Premier League fantasy where you can catch price rises and stuff like that. You might be able to catch rises, but it's not like multiple are going to happen throughout the week. It's either a +2 or plus 0.2 or minus 0.2 every week, I think. Um, but yeah, so this is how the team is shaping up. So we're going to stick with Suzuki in the goal against Torino. Torino's strong defensively, not always the best attacking. Whereas De Gea is facing Napoli. I think that'll be a tough match for Fiorentina, but Fiorentina has been able to play with the big boys this season. So that could be a clean sheet. We have haven't actually picked my captain yet. That's just still on him from last week, and I actually don't know who it should be. It might be best to keep on Di Lorenzo. Anyway, we'll talk about the players first and go back to captaincy. We're playing a 4-3-3, I think, for this week. I would have liked to have VT in for this match, but he is still injured, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be ready till um, mid to late January, so I don't think he'll be part of this game week at all. So that's why he's on my bench, or else he'd be part of the starting lineup. Also, El Shaarawy has been a bit of a bust, hasn't even started. He had a couple good game weeks, and I got him in, and then he just stopped producing. So waste transfer there. Would have been nice to have a Dybala in instead of El Shaarawy. Those with Dybala this week, I think, are at an advantage. If you can get him in, get him in. I'd say this week, I'd say that would be the number one priority if you have the amount of playing players necessary already. Anyway, so Di Lorenzo and Guzins. I'm hoping Guzins start this week. He didn't start against Juve, so I'm assuming he'll start this week. But that'll be a tough matchup. Honestly, a lot of these matchups are pretty tough. Even the big clubs that are part of this game week have tough matchups because we have Napoli and Fiorentina, and then we have Roma and Lazio. So tough matches there. Parma and Torino is another tough matchup. Kirkopoulos, he was injured last week. He is projected that maybe he is back this week. So I'm thinking I'm going to start him. If he doesn't play, then El Shaarawy will probably be coming off my bench for him. But I'm hoping he does play. I'd rather that fixture against Cagliari, a defender. Defenders do score a lot of points in this game, and he's a relatively attacking defender that plays as a wing back. And my first transfer in highlighting is Coco. I want him to be part of the Torino offense. He has been a pretty good option so far this season. I don't really understand the point to drop this past week. So let me know if you know why that happened. Hopefully, I'm not wasting transfers. I can't really afford that right now. Then we have a midfield three that is a little more what we're used to, where we still have Zaccagni, tough match against Roma, although Roma can leak goals for sure. Dennis Mann in there, who we've had for a while. And the second transfer in is Florian Thauvin. We had him for a bit last season, didn't really produce, but he has really been getting attacking returns this week. I want to capitalize on this fixture against Verona, where him and Luca up front have really been doing some damage. I wanted one of them. I brought in a different striker, so I thought I'd get Thauvin in, as he is a very attacking player listed as a midfielder in the game. And then for a front three, I have Dovbyk, who's been producing lately since he started playing striker again. Lukaku, hopefully he's still on penalties in case Napoli gets one, although he did miss one last week. And my third transfer in is Esposito from Empoli. He also missed a penalty last week. I'm hoping he's still on it. But him and Colombo have really been producing a lot together. Hard to pick between the two against Venezia, so a very good fixture. Um, I literally picked Esposito over Colombo because I think he might still have penalties, but it could have switched the other way. As Colombo is the point man, the top striker, so hopefully it could really backfire. And Colombo probably is most likely to score a goal from open play. And now if he's the one with penalties as well, that could really backfire. But that is what I have chosen for now. Um, Now the captaincy seems kind of tough this week. I'm tempted to just go Di Lorenzo because I think that's a safe pick, rather than throwing it on one of these cheaper options on a lower club just to see what happens. So I feel like Di Lorenzo could at least get a half clean sheet or something like that. I'm sure someone from a small club is going to outshine these bigger players this week, but it's hard to guess. So I think I might just stick with Di Lorenzo, and maybe I'll have fun with the vice captaincy just for the sake of it, and we'll throw it on Esposito or something like that. Yes, we'll stick with that. We'll see what happens here. Okay, and that is going to be it. If you're someone that's prepared for this, hopefully you're going to be experiencing a jump up the rankings, especially over those players that aren't active and haven't paid attention, but have good players in the squad and they've just consistently kind of hung around. These next 2 weeks should really separate those, especially if you're someone that's part of this game week and wild carding next. Hopefully you didn't. I would not recommend wild carding into this game week because that sets you up really poorly for next game week and the rest of the season. So I don't think a wild card is worth it in this game week. Like, this could also be a very low scoring game week, and it might not even matter at the end of the day with the players and options that we have. Um, and so while you'd probably still experience a drop down the rankings if you didn't prepare for this game week, I don't think it'll be terrible. Normally blanks, often we get excited for blank game weeks, especially if we have prepared for it, but they can also be a really big letdown as well. And you'll see that in multiple different fantasies. Similar thing happened last year. The big blank last year wasn't super exciting. Um, but hopefully it is this year, and hopefully a big swing in rank for those of us that put in the time to prepare for this. I'd say my number one option, if you can get him in, would be Dybala this week. If not, Toven, I think, is a really good option. Being part of the Torino defense is something I really looked forward to. If you need to get a keeper in, which a lot of us don't need to, because a lot of us have had Suzuki lying around all season, based on his price point and his production. But like Milinkovic Savic would be a great option. Um, and then I'd say one of the Empoli strikers has been really good. You have players like Piccoli, Pinamonti that have shown some decent form. I'd probably assume that you're going to have two Napoli players in. It really is unfortunate with these two fixtures that we couldn't try to make more use of our Napoli, Lazio, Fiorentina, and Roma players because they're facing each other, but it is what it is. Someone you could take a flyer on is Venezia striker Polo or something. I forgot how to pronounce it. Um, and yeah, maybe even like a Kristovic or Friendrip or something like that. Lots of different names that have been producing just on smaller clubs that you can't count on to return every week, but that you can take a 1 week punt on and get them out of your team for next week. So just some names being thrown out there. Hopefully that helps. Um, I've been excited kind of for this game week for a while. Hopefully you are too, and we should see some really big scores in game week 20 as well. Take care. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.